Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I have my faithful flag back here, Old Glory. Very excited. She's made her debut. I wanted to do something different in the back. I have really limited space where I can film without having a lot of noise. In this video, I wanted to talk about and discuss some common misconceptions about police officers. I think with any profession, you're going to see good and bad. You're going to see people who are really great example of whatever that job or profession should be, and then you're going to have people who are a very bad example of whatever that job or profession should be. And law enforcement is no different with this. We are dealing with people who make mistakes and who are imperfect. So with that said, I think these are really common misconceptions for police officers, and I think that in general, this is what people may say about police officers or think about them. However, out of the hundreds of police officers I have known in the last 16 years of being a police officer, I think it's a very small minority of that group that would fit into these categories. Anywhere, I would say from 0.5 to 1% may even actually be anywhere remotely in any of these categories. With that said, I'm gonna jump right in. And the first one I know a lot of people have said or brought up recently is that police officers like to shoot and kill people. So while I myself have never been in an officer involved shooting, I have several coworkers who have been in officer involved shootings and who have had to kill people in those encounters. And none of them have taken any kind of joy in that. In fact, many of them recall it as being a very horrible and traumatic experience for them and have had to work through processing that entire situation just internally and emotionally with themselves. Not to mention what happens with their agency, different state agencies that may investigate, and then eventually with prosecutors' offices who are going to be looking at and examining these cases as well. There's a really great documentary called Officer Involved, and I will put links to, I believe they have a YouTube channel, and then the documentary itself down below. But they look at the different effects that officer involved shootings have on the officers specifically, and then also the department and community, and just examining what kind of effect that has on law enforcement. The next misconception I wanted to talk about was that many people believe that police officers love writing tickets and they want to pull you over and they are out to get you. So there probably are some police officers who do enjoy writing tickets. I, however, do at times suffer from carpal tunnel, so I'm not somebody who wants to sit there and write a million tickets. Although I hear there are officers who have amazing ticket printers, so they don't worry about that as much. They do a lot more typing, which also can cause carpal tunnel though. I don't think a lot of police officers take joy in writing citations. I think it is part of the job, and I definitely don't think that police officers are out to get anybody. I think that they are trying to make the community as safe as possible, and if part of that is involving traffic enforcement, then that's what they're going to do. Even as a police officer who spent my career loving traffic and doing traffic stops, the goal and objective of that was never to write as many tickets as possible. It was always to attempt to deter crime in the area and attempt to deter people from coming into the area to commit crime, as well as making sure that people were as safe as possible when they were driving on the road. Another misconception I hear a lot about police officers is that they love arresting people. And now spending the majority of my career as a supervisor, I can tell you that being an officer myself, working with other officers, and as a supervisor, officers do not want to arrest people, because when you inevitably arrest somebody, it is a lot of work and it is a lot of paperwork. You have to do reports. Not only that, you have to go to court. You have to set all this time aside, be available to show up for court after you've spent all this time working on this case, getting warrants. It's a lot of work. Now, I do think that police officers are out there arresting people when it is necessary to keep the community safe, and when it is necessary for those people to go to jail. There can't not be any consequences for somebody if they're going to blatantly break the law or they're going to do something that makes them a danger to the rest of society. People need to be arrested at times. Now, if we could live in a world where nobody ever committed a crime and nobody ever went to jail, I think that's definitely the kind of world a police officer would prefer to be in and to work in. But the reality of life and the situation is that is not the world that we live in. Another misconception about police officers is that they are all racist. I work in an agency with a race that is usually a minority being the majority, and overall as a department and in our different districts and our assignments, we do not have these kinds of problems with each other based on race. And I also know these different people that I work with don't have those kinds of problems in the community. Now, especially with body camera, you can look at your officer's interaction with people and you can see what's actually happening in different situations and how the person is acting. I definitely believe that the majority of police officers are not racist and that they're out there trying to do their job to the best of their ability. When you have law enforcement that is predominantly one race and you work in a community where you're interacting with people of a different race, does that mean that they are showing bias or prejudice toward that specific group of people? Or does that mean that's the only other race of person that they are coming into contact with? I know that I myself have worked in districts where it's predominantly African American people living there, and I happen to not be African American. Does it mean that I go out and I'm looking for African American people to have police interaction with? No, it means that when I go out policing, 99% of the people that I am encountering happen to be African American because of where I am policing. I do think that we see inequality in the criminal justice system when it comes to the mental health of an individual and also the socioeconomic status of that person, both of which are not defined by race. And the last misconception that I'm going to talk about in this video is that police officers are narcissists and bullies. Now, if you guys have been watching me for a minute, you know I have specifically talked about situations where I have had to forcibly be involved with narcissists and bullies just because of where I was assigned at the time. However, I know that after dealing with hundreds of police officers in my career, that is definitely not the norm. Those people are the minority, and unfortunately some of them the minority that I have had to deal with. But overall, most police officers are not fitting into those categories. Most police officers want to help their community. They want to keep it safe. They want to protect people. They want to be involved and they want to be helpful. What do y'all think about these misconceptions? Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know your own personal experiences too, because everyone does have different experiences. I was just going off of things that I hear a lot about police officers, or I would typically think of when I think of misconceptions of police officers. So let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love and appreciate you so much. As always, y'all stay safe out there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Also, let me know, do you like the flag? I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking she's gonna be a regular here, but let me know down below too. Bye guys.